Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tricia Shaughnessy, and I'm the Postgraduate Programme Manager here in Cork University Business School. You're all very welcome to our 7th in a series of webinars that we've been running throughout the spring and the summer. Today's event will focus on kickstarting your career in food business and innovation. I'd like to firstly welcome our panel, and I'd like to thank them for their time in engaging in this event today. We are delighted to be joined by Dr. Ronan O'Farrell, and the Director of the MSc in Food Business and Innovation. And we also have Dr. Lana Ripa, who is also the co-director of this programme. We're delighted to have a present student of the programme, Maeve Halley, here to share her experiences. Maeve is currently on work experience in Musgraves as part of this programme. So just a little housekeeping before we kick off. If you have any questions for our speakers, please do feel free to pop them in the YouTube comments, and we'll do our best to answer them all during the webinar. If we don't get to all questions, they'll be answered directly after the event. If you are interested in applying in this programme, the application process is quite straightforward and simple. You apply online at www.ucc.ie/en/apply. Decisions and deadlines are made on a rounds-based system, and the next cut-off date for applications is the 1st of July. But I would advise you to apply online as soon as possible, as we will be closing this programme as soon as it's full. So to kick off, I'd firstly like to introduce you to Dr. Ronan O'Farrell, one of the Programme Directors of the MSc in Food Business and Innovation programme here in UCC. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ronan.
Thanks, Patricia. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. At this stage, my name is Ronan O'Farrell. I'm one of the co-directors of the MSc in Food Business and Innovation in the Cork University Business School. I suppose my role this morning is first and foremost just to give you a short overview of the event and to introduce you to my colleagues, and maybe initially to speak a little bit to the programme and how we approach it, and the journey that students undertake during that one-year programme, just very, very briefly. My colleague Lana then is going to come in, and Lana is also heavily involved in programme direction, and also contributes on the lecturing side in the programme, but she's going to talk to you a little bit about the design of the programme and an overview of the course experience, the benefits, speak to you a little bit about the, I suppose, all of the processes that are embedded into the programme, and I suppose just highlighting, different aspects of the programme, the strengths of the programme, and what students can expect to get out of it over the course of their participation. Following on from that, I'm delighted that we have Maeve Healy with us this afternoon. She's a current student on the programme, and it's very interesting for incoming students to hear from other students, and particularly in these times where we had to transition to an online delivery in the last 12 months, just to hear, the student experience and, how they have been able to develop and progress as a result of their participation on the programme and what opportunities it has opened up for Maeve. So we're delighted to have her here with us this morning. Following on from that, we're going to open up the floor to students and other participants in this webinar today, and myself, Lana, Patricia, and the team, and Maeve will be available to answer any questions that you might have, and we can have a discussion around those, and then we'll hopefully wrap up at about 12:45. So just, I suppose the programme that we're running at the moment, the MSc in Food Business and Innovation, is an amalgam of two previous programmes which were both very, very successful in food business and in food marketing. And I suppose, like everything else, the world changes and the requirements in industry change, and the university has to adapt and ensure that we're delivering programs that give students the opportunities to progress their careers through their education and development. So we've got a very, very young team. We've got a very experienced team, which is made up of academics, practitioners, and a very, very strong professional staff backing that up. So very, very dynamic team, very experienced in the delivery of these types of programs. What we say to students at the outset is that we really concentrate on in a master's program on your skill set development, your own personal development of relevant formal business skills that really work in the food industry, that help you to get started into your career and allow you to develop and grow in the future. The skill sets that we deliver through our learning outcomes and the different modules that are incorporated into this program, they're very, very transferable, and we teach students how to be adaptable and also how to be resilient. And I guess, under the current circumstances with COVID-19, that's been a really key feature of the development of, the student experience. And, we've been very, very strong in ensuring that, we deliver that for the students. Like anything else, you'll get out of the program what you put into it. There's, I suppose, in terms of, the delivery, there's a lot of kind of group work, a lot of project-based work integrated and embedded in the program, which helps to improve your communication skills, your report writing, your critical thinking, analysis, and so on. I suppose with this particular program, the food industry is a significant part of the Irish economy, and we work very, very close with partners in industry to understand exactly, what they want, the skills that they want from students that are potentially going to be working in their organizations. And the approach that we take is, in terms of delivery then, is, we do a lot of applied learning, connected curriculum, where we're, linking with industry. They're coming in, they're setting the assignments for the students in line with the learning outcomes for the program. And so rather than just, being very, very academically focused, this is very, very applied. So students from the outset are working with industry, solving problems for industry, delivering back solutions. And Lana and myself will talk to you a little bit about some of the examples later on this morning. So we're really focused on practical experience of the students while they're on the program and developing those critical thinking and problem solving skills. Again, I guess the evidence speaks for itself in terms of how the program performs. And this year, despite all its challenges that were in the Irish economy, the food industry has done really well. We had over 70% of our students placed in industry on internships this March. And the balance of the students actually, we had a very successful year. We're working directly with companies on research problems. So it's been, very, very satisfying that, our students are going on to achieve great things, very shortly after, they finish up on the program. In addition to that, we would have, an extensive alumni that maintain close contact with us. And, if you're watching the website over the next number of months, you'll see, our alumni stars going up. And I suppose they're very interesting for incoming students because it shows the pathways of students, from, maybe their past academic careers or their undergraduate careers, what they get out of a program like the MSc in Food Business and Innovation, and then what that allows them to do when they go into industry. So we've got 3 students profiled on that alumni stars coming up over the next number of weeks. And on top of that, then, just through our connections with our alumni, we are aware that over 90% of our students that are graduated a year or more are all in full-time employment, which is fantastic. And, I suppose the feedback that we get from industry all the time is, look, they want more students that fit that profile. So, lots of opportunities there for incoming students. So I'm going to hand you over to Lana, who's going to talk you through more of the structure of the program and how that's delivered. And I'll see you in about 20 minutes in the questions and answers section then. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ronan, and I'm very happy to be here today. My name is Dr. Lana Parr, and I'm a lecturer in food business here at Cork University Business School, and I teach something very interesting, which is called digital media marketing, in this particular master's in food business and innovation. So I'm going to share with you some overview of the program. I'm going to talk a little bit about the structure. I'm also going to give you some insights how it looks like to be our student, and also what are some of the experiences from the international students as well, because this program is very international. You're going to get a chance to meet people from different parts of the world, coming with different knowledge, different experience, bringing all of that together to enrich your life, both professional and personal. So let's jump into some slides that talk a little bit more about this MSc. As you can see here, everybody is interested in career and opportunities. So what this program is going to give you is really the expertise in these areas. First of all, the food area, but not just the food area. Here we are talking about transferable skills which you can apply in many different areas in the industry. Non-food sector, for example. We have our students who go into different retail sector, banking sector, organizations and institutions where they use skills that they gain through this program. So one of the most prominent skill that our students get is definitely the expertise in food marketing. We put a lot of effort into emphasizing the practical part. This program is very hands-on. We encourage innovation. We encourage creative thinking. We want you to solve the problems. We want you to be able to come up with solutions when you're asked either by the company or any type of organization. So the emphasis is really on making this program suitable for what is next for you in the employment. So it's very much applied knowledge that we are sharing here in this program. Also, we teach and put a lot of emphasis on entrepreneurship. And if you're into coming up with your own business, this program is definitely going to give you more confidence. However, entrepreneurial thinking is not just for people who are going to be entrepreneurs and who are going to establish their own business. Being able to think in entrepreneurial way is a very, very sought after characteristic in the industry. And in this case, we call it entrepreneurship, because the companies these days want especially young people, young graduates, to come up with solutions. Sometimes they don't have an overview and a good insight into the newest trends. So we teach you here to be able to analyze the trends, especially in the food industry, supply chains. We give you that contemporary view and all the skills that you need to know in order to be really successful in this industry. Also, one of the points that we really emphasize is consumer research. After taking this program, you will be able to understand consumer behavior, what consumers want, and most importantly, how to explore that, how to really get insights into consumer behavior. Because remember, if you understand the consumers, you'll be able to provide products which they are going to purchase. Also, on a more strategic level, we do emphasize strategic management, thinking about solution, designing solutions, and bringing them into practice. So all of those skills are really essential to this program. Also, what is really interesting, we have a very good blend of different modules. So you can find yourself doing the research, you can find yourself being focused on sustainability, or in my area, being really focused on digital marketing. As you can see here on the screen, we have, for example, global food systems, the module which deals with sustainable food systems. Now, remember, this COVID pandemic brought a lot of issues in many different systems, but what was shown is that the food industry has been really resilient. The food supply chain bounced back very quickly. And this is due to the knowledge, the expertise, of course, of people who are working in these companies, but also due to the fact that food is something that is so critical for our everyday life. So we put an emphasis on, for example, exploring sustainability and how to make sure that we know how to make our food system sustainable. Also, in terms of the entrepreneurship innovation, I'm sure Ronan is going to mention this later on as well, but we have a module which kind of puts you into a situation where you're able to use all of your creativity, all of your thinking about design and come up with a new food product. And this is a very interesting and exciting component of this program for our students. They love it, they enjoy it, especially the aspect of the teamwork. And teamwork in general is a very important skill that you need to learn before you go into employment, because the ability to work as part of the team is what we emphasize in this module. Also, something that we value a lot. So this program is not just going to teach you how to do things, but also it's going to spill over into your private life as well, to become a better person, a better communicator, and a person who is going to be delightful to work with. Also, as I mentioned previously, when it comes to food marketing, we know that new technologies are taking over. We know that with all developments that we have, digital media marketing is becoming more and more important, not just in food industry, but also in any other industry. And we put a lot of emphasis on teaching how to actually come up with a great digital media campaigns. For example, that's my area, and this is where I get lots of positive feedback from the students, because guess what? Many of them end up doing their placements in that digital sphere, but also end up getting jobs. And why? Because young people like you are recognized as people who have a great insight and potential to contribute to this digital environment. And this is in this module, this is what we teach. We try to make sure that you understand how digital space work, and then unleash your creativity and design campaign, which is actually going to be successful. On the practical side, we have this application in the form of the Food Industry Centered Research Project, which is your placement, as Ronan mentioned, very successful rates this year, where you actually get to apply all of this knowledge that you gain in the real situation. So you are going into the industry, into a food company or food-related company, and you're able to actually test yourself and your knowledge and fill in any gaps that you might have during those about 5 months, so that you are ready to go on the market. It's a very dynamic placement. Students are often surprised like how much work they require at the beginning, especially when you get to adjust to the environment, because you have been sitting in the classroom and now all of a sudden you're faced with real industry people. You have your manager, so it takes a little bit of time for students to adjust. But this is why we prepare you through a very structured steps and plans when you go into the placement, that you're ready, that you know what is expected from you, and you know how you can actually excel in this environment. The important point is what industry thinks about this program, but also what students say. So you can see on the screen on the left side, this is feedback from the industry about this program. What they say, it's really interesting. They say that this program contains modules that are key to have an understanding and knowledge if you're planning to work in the food sector. Another quote then says that it's exactly what the industry needs. So you can see here that we are providing the modules that have been created with you in mind. So what are you as a young graduate going to need going further in your employment and facing this market and different jobs? On the other side, in the center of the screen, you can see just one of many applications and how we actually work with the industry. Ronan is going to tell you a little bit more about this little project called Shack. But as you can see, lots of students involved, great fun, great productive time, and then again, great results. And the last picture shows the presentation of the digital campaign. As you can see, different groups created digital campaigns for different companies. You are deciding with which company you're going to work with, and you're designing a campaign. It's a great fun, but also a huge amount of learnings. Some of the groups in the previous years that actually presented their work through digital marketing campaign to companies, they got excellent reviews. The companies were surprised how much detail they provided and how successful and in-depth that digital marketing campaign was. So you're going to learn all of that in the modules that we provide. Our students who finish this program have all the good words to say about it. For example, Ria, she said she cannot recommend this master's enough, and I know Ria just recently got a job as well. Also, invaluable professional and personal skills. Also, we work very close with students. That's why someone like Dennis emphasized that support that we give to our students. So we're not going to let you do things on your own. We are here for advice to guide you through the whole process, make sure that you're happy and that you really excel. And so the professional and private life flourishes in this program. One of the points that we emphasize, and sometimes it's not part of other programs, is the ability to communicate in a business sense effectively. And this is why you can see Emer and Rachel there on the screen. They were really delighted to have an opportunity to actually pitch their project. So at the end of a few modules, you have an opportunity to pitch, because pitching skills are essential, not just in this food industry, but anytime you're doing anything related to your interviews or you're trying to pitch a new idea to your manager. It's so essential. And we put a lot of emphasis on teaching you how to do it successfully. You get a lot of chance to practice as well. I mentioned previously the international aspect of this program. We have international students who are happy to learn that this is a very global program. We focus on global issues, but we also work with local industries and entrepreneurs. So what you get is a very, very comprehensive knowledge and experience in this program. And this is what international students really like. And some students do actually want to pursue the entrepreneurship. And as Marissa stated in this quote, they really like the confidence. Well, that's no wonder, because you get the practical knowledge, you get the theories, different frameworks, and you get a chance to really exercise those skills in this program. So we put some key program objectives in front of the students, and at the end of it, we are happy to acknowledge that they do achieve those objectives. And that always translates in their enthusiasm about the program and also the jobs that then they end up doing. Communication is critical for this program, because in business, it's all about communicating precisely either to a manager or to your consumers. It's about getting your message very clearly, and this is what we do. We also have modules which are going to show you how to do the analysis. For example, if you have data, we're going to show you how to analyze data, which is really important for consumers. Also learning something about business frameworks and how to use, for example, marketing mix when you're developing a new food product. Also, we are looking at the supply chains, especially important in this COVID-19 situation where the food supply chains had to be resilient. And this is what we teach in this program as well, how to be resilient. So if you're facing a problem, you have to be able to come up with a solution. And this is where entrepreneurship innovation mindset really comes to play. And as well, we give you a chance at the end to apply all of that knowledge in your placement. The blend of the modules is also one of the key unique selling points. Very often we get a question, if I don't have the food business or some kind of nutritional background, am I still going to do well? And the answer is yes. Throughout the years, we had students from many different backgrounds without business background, coming from, for example, educational background or the art background, and they did really well. And why? Because they found parts that they really love and they excel, and they gather all the other knowledge that this program gives, and they made the best out of it. We were also nominated as one of the best new MSc program in 2019. So it's really a very comprehensive, very holistic program that is going to give you transferable skills which are sought after by the industry. Now, the teamwork was emphasized previously, but it's really important that you understand, and this is something that we emphasize from the very beginning. Everywhere you go, you're going to be working with some kind of environment. So that's why we often, in several different modules, put you in the groups. So the group work is very important to us, because in the group work, you understand how to function as part of the group. Sometimes it's easy to do things individually, but in the real business setting, you're going to be probably part of a team. So we encourage you and we support you in learning how to be part of the team and how to be a very successful component of the team. It's very important to be able to communicate your ideas, to listen, to agree, and then to report or pitch as a group. So this is what we emphasize in this program. And this is something that students find very useful going into the employment. Also, the Applied Food Industry Center Research Project is a great opportunity for you to go and find out deep inside of the industry, what is happening, what type of positions there are, how would you actually manage if you're part of a team, for example, in Musgraves or with Aldi, and what would be your role, what can you expect from a position, what type of maybe knowledge is required, where are your gaps. So all of that really is kind of that we emphasize in the placement, and it really gives you an opportunity to get all of those skills and all of that experience. Remember, this program was created by merging two very successful programs, but it's 1 year, it's full of knowledge, full of practicalities, and also that placement which gives you about 5 months of experience, which when you come out of the program, it's a very good thing to have in your CV and to showcase. And also, it's not just that the applied research project gives you some kind of a tangible output. We also have module where you're actually coming up with your product, and this is a great point of conversation when you're doing your interview, because it shows multiple transferable skills that you have as an individual. So this program is very much hands-on. Here are some of the examples of placements throughout the year where our students went. Again, we get great reports from the placement managers. Throughout the placement, of course, you're guided. We have placement officer who is going to guide you to the process. You can do your placement, in the company that interviewed you, for example, or you can also come up with your own suggestions when it comes to placement. So we have the whole system in place to support you, to make sure that you come out of it with great success and great enthusiasm to contribute to the food industry or non-food industry. If you have any questions, here are the key contacts, Professor Joe Bogue and Ronan O'Farrell, as well as me. So you're more than welcome to contact us and to click on the links that are going to be in the chat box. So I'm going to hand you over to our student, Maeve. There's no better person to talk about this program than a student who is currently on her placement. So Maeve, over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Maeve. I'm a current student in the MSc Food Business and Innovation Masters, and I'm currently in the 3rd trimester while on placement in Musgrave. So I'll just give a bit of background on my experience. I did nutritional science as my undergrad. So I absolutely loved it, but I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do afterwards. I wasn't really clear on my career options. So I started looking into kind of what different masters I could do to put me in a position that I could work in the food industry, but in a more kind of development role or something to do with kind of food development rather than the real technical stuff that I would have been doing with nutrition. So I started looking up this master's, and I really, really liked the sound of it because of how broad the modules are. So like there's modules on so many different aspects of business and marketing and entrepreneurship, which I really liked because I have no background in business whatsoever. So I was coming in as a pure rookie, really. So yeah, what I really liked about the master's was that I came in with no business background or no kind of previous knowledge, and they really, the lecturers really sit at the basics. So they kind of give you the real kind of basic knowledge on all the essentials you need to know, and then they kind of work your way up to the more kind of complicated stuff. So I really, really liked that because it was really helpful, coming from my background. And then as well, everything was taught in like a really, really comprehensive way. So the lectures really go through things very thoroughly. Everything's really well explained, and all of them are very much kind of there for you. If you have any queries or questions or are struggling with anything, like they're all literally a phone call or an email away, which is really, really nice. So as well with my undergrad, I didn't do that much teamwork or group work or group projects at all. Like a lot, like it was all basically just exams and solo work. So I really liked coming into the masters and being put in these group projects. I didn't think that I would like it, but I actually did like it in the end, because I had no experience in it, and I really feel that it's really important to get that experience working as a team or in a group before you go into the workplace, because in the workplace you're working as teams all the time. So that was really good, and I also felt through those group projects you really were able to improve your skill base, like project management, time management, organization, like all of those skills kind of improve and develop all the time, and you don't even realize it until you come out at the end of it and you're like, oh my god, you know, like I'm in such a better place than I was when I came into the masters. So that's really, really good. Like I have to say it is a busy 2 semesters. Like you are going to be run off your feet, but you know, I really felt that I learned a lot and that I really came out of it knowing so much more than I did when I went into it. And I also felt when I came out of it that I was really ready to go into the workplace. Whereas when I had finished my undergrad, I wasn't confident going into a job, and I wasn't confident even applying for jobs and saying that I'm able to do this, because I didn't feel like I was. Whereas now I feel like I'm way more, my skill base is way broader. I'm just way more confident in my kind of professional career. And I really felt that the masters helped me get to where I am. And as well with the masters, there's a placement. So that is obviously really, really handy, because you're kind of hitting 2 birds with 1 stone, getting your masters and getting your work experience. So I'm on placement now with Musgrave, and I'm working in the own brand department. So doing a lot of like food product development. So that's kind of exactly where I wanted to be when I came out in nutrition. So I'm really, really happy that that's where I am. And the masters definitely helped me get to this place. So yeah, overall, I think that it was really, really worth my while. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it with COVID and everything happening last summer. Nobody really knew what was happening. But I have to say that the lecturers did the absolute utmost that they could have done. They were so helpful, and they were so supportive, and really encouraged us right throughout the year, even though, you know, it was kind of, the year was a bit all over the place because nobody knew what was happening because of COVID. But the lecturers made the whole online experience really, really kind of intuitive and engaging, which really brought us all along throughout the year. And although we didn't get to go on campus, I still feel like it was 100% worth doing the year. So yeah, that's kind of it. I hope that that is helping some people make up their mind on, you know, what they want to do, whether they want to do the masters or not, or if it's for them or not. But if you have any questions, just let me know. I'll stay on the call for any questions afterwards. And yeah, I hope that was some bit helpful anyway for you.
That's great. Thank you so much for that, Maeve. A real honest opinion of what the course is like. So it was great to actually see that. Really interesting as well to see that you hadn't come from a business background. So we are now going to move on to the questions and answers section of the event, where we'll be joined again by Ronan and Lana, where we will be asking them a few questions. Welcome back, Lana. Welcome back, Ronan.
Thanks, Trish.
So we have a few questions, and I'll just pop them out to both of you there, and you might answer them for us. So could we learn a bit more on the digital media marketing module?
Yeah, I'm going to take this one. Yeah, so the digital media marketing module is very dynamic. It happens in the 2nd semester. So the 2nd semester is 8 weeks. It's very hands-on. So at the beginning, I normally introduce the key aspects of digital media marketing, which includes social media, which students are very happy to hear, because, you know, students believe that social media is something that they're very comfortable with. But at the same time, I always put a little bit of a warning, saying that just because you have lots of accounts on social media, that doesn't make you a digital media marketing expert. What makes you a digital media marketing expert is when you actually construct a campaign. So from the beginning until the very end, and that's where the fun really starts. So in this module, what we do, we select students into groups. And normally they self-select. At that stage, they already know each other. So that's a great advantage because you can strategically think who you want in your group to get the best mark at the end to be the most successful. Once you're in your group, then the fun starts. You have to select one company, either the food company or the beverage company, and you have to create a summer campaign, which is based in both digital world, but also in some traditional media. And you have to really come up with a good story for that campaign. You have to use all the brand values, brand identity that you learn about the company. Students are very creative. They use social media such as Instagram posts, Facebook, TikTok videos as well. They create their website with that particular campaign. It's really great to see what students can come up. And what I normally do, I really encourage the use of different tools and software and the creativity of the students, because again, remember, this is not only applicable for food, it's applicable for any other industry where you might be as a digital marketing expert. Also, students get a lot of help and mentoring during this project. The projects are usually after 8 weeks, they're not too long in terms of writing, which is a very good thing the students like. It's not about writing a great long project, it's about presenting. So we give them an opportunity to pitch those projects in slides, and they are able to showcase all of the great work that they achieved throughout this module. And very often we see that they brag on a LinkedIn, because again, it's a great line for your social media, for your especially professional platform like LinkedIn, to showcase your skills in a very practical way. So students often put their images from the presentation, show a little bit of a text what they did. And it's a great, because the potential recruiters and people who are there trying to find new talents, they see that. So we encourage students to really go and do that. And that's a practical component, like you created something and now showcase that in the real job market. So that's in short what we do in this module.
Lovely. Thank you, Lana. We've just had another question come in the last couple of minutes on YouTube. Is the dissertation part of the work placement?
So all students have to complete a food industry centered research project. It's between 8,000 and 9,000 words, so it's not a long dissertation that might traditionally be associated with a master's. This program runs over 12 months, and it speaks a little bit to what Lana was speaking about earlier on. You know, you're taught through the taught parts of the module or the program in semester 1 and semester 2. You acquire the skills to do research, and then when you go out on your placement, you're applying that to an industry-based problem, and you're basing your research report or dissertation, some people like to call it, the terms are interchangeable, on that. So we give very clear guidelines to the students in terms of what goes into that report, how they approach it, how they develop the methodology, how they gather their data, which can be scaled up then for a larger project, you know, in the workplace afterwards. But typically the students are working on live projects for companies for their dissertation. But we call it a report because you'll have an executive summary in there as well, because it's more industry focused than just doing a piece of academic research that might sit in my office or Lana's office for a few years. So typically, as somebody is taking that report and acting on the recommendations and the outcomes of that research, which is, I suppose, further solidifies and adds to the applied nature of what we're doing on this program, which is very important for the students' development.
Great. Sorry, go ahead, Lana.
Something that's really important and very interesting, students doing this type of project, which is focused on the industry, you know, in some cases we've had students who actually got a job because they showed their skills and during the placement. They can, you know, look at the market, look at the trends, again, use their entrepreneurial mindset, suggest underneath to the company great ideas, do a good presentation, and the employers see that. So that's a great point for students to know that, you know, your placement is an opportunity for you, you know, to get a job as well, potentially, or to have this piece of work, the project that you're doing as, again, a point of conversation in your next interview, because you are solving a problem. It's not, as Ronan was saying, it's not the literature review and too many articles. That it's very, very practical, and it gives you a great leverage to then, really market yourself further.
And I guess just maybe to add to what Lan is saying is, we focus really on quality, the quality of the information that goes into those reports, because that's what industry is looking for. They're looking for quality material, quality points, quality research. Everything is centered on quality, because that's what would, that's the expectation when the students move into industry. It's, and I suppose we teach them how to deliver that over the course of the program,
Yeah, we've got a good few questions coming in now, guys. So the next question is, what does a career trajectory for a graduate from the Masters look like?
So I might take that, Trish. I suppose, as Maeve said, there in her own case, she was coming from a technical background and she wanted to maybe pursue a career on the business side. And I suppose that's one of the things with our program really is that the skill set that the students acquire while they're on the program is very transferable into multiple sectors. Obviously, I suppose the core content is delivered around a career in the food industry, but the food industry is very, very broad, and it covers everything from insurance, transport, logistics, supply chain, energy, through to the manufacturing, ingredients, processed products, marketing, digital, as Lan said, has become a huge area in terms of career path development. I would say that 50% of the companies that come to us are looking for people to help them on their, to digitize their businesses. There's been transformation in that whole area, commercial roles within the supermarkets, branding, marketing, new product development. The food industry is enormous, and the opportunities that are out there for students are enormous. Just to give you an example, we had a BCom student who came on the program on the first cycle of that program, and didn't really want to get into the tax, the finance, the more financial side of the BCom, wanted to work in the food industry, in some form of an advisory or consultancy capacity. But they got their career started off in Grant Thornton in their consultancy side, so there's lots of different routes to employment from the program. And with it, as I said earlier on, with an extensive alumni, and it's always very interesting to see where students are popping up in the future and what this program enables them to do. And Lana mentioned it there, and Maeve, capacity to work in groups. The work environment now is all about teams and project management, skills and multidisciplinary, approach within companies. So if you're involved in new product development, you need to understand about marketing, supply chain, ingredients. So it can be, you need to be able to operate in that environment, and be able to demonstrate to your employers that you can, that you have those skills. And when it comes to recruitment and our students going in for interview, they perform very, very strongly because, number one, they have the confidence because they're presenting all the time, they're working in groups, they have an understanding of how that's going to contribute to their profile, and we encourage them, to drive on and make the best opportunity for themselves. I suppose, and that's because myself and Lana and Joe we're very, positive in terms of how we deliver it and really push the students to do the best for themselves. They respond, thankfully, to that, which is always which is a good sign. And I think it's clearly demonstrated in our employment numbers. Post graduation are very, very strong.
Perfect. Thank you, Ronan. There's another question here. What date is the course starting? So it will be starting again on the 13th of September. And just a follow-on question from that as well, whether it'll be online or not. So people on the call might be coming from outside Ireland or within Ireland, but you may know in Ireland the COVID-19 vaccination programme is already well underway, and the government is planning for every adult in Ireland to receive the vaccine by September. So we're hoping by semester one of the academic year 21-22 We hope to be in a position where it will be safer to interact personally. We're hoping to have a return to a greater face-to-face teaching. Again, of course, this is all going to be subject to public health, but we would hoping to be looking maybe at more of a hybrid model. So we have another question. It's quite busy now in the chat, so it's great to see everybody engaging. And if you do have any questions, do feel free to just pop them in. So would it be suitable for someone, would this course be suitable for someone coming from, say, a hospitality background?
Yeah, so we've had lots of students coming in, who either want to go and work in the hospitality sector or coming from the hospitality sector. I suppose, again, people don't maybe realize how important the hospitality sector is to the food industry. It, prior to COVID, it accounted for over 50% of all the food and drink consumed in Ireland on a daily basis. So it's a substantial entity in terms of how that sector is developed, how, the food supply chains work into that, how companies market and develop and, position their products in that market. So somebody coming from that background would have an intuitive knowledge of how all of that works. And one of the great things, when we have students asking questions like this, or students coming to the program that have maybe some experience of working in the industry, in a particular industry, it's a great, I suppose cross-fertilization in ideas, experiences, and everybody benefits and learns from that. And there would be no shortage of our engagement with the hospitality sector would be seen as a key, I suppose, route out of the program for our students in one form or another. So yeah, it's absolutely suitable. It's a substantial part of the food industry, and it's be very applicable. Yeah. And particularly with digital marketing, I think is a key thing. As all of those big businesses digitize, and if that person was interested in going back in, they would have a skill set that would really help them to drive the performance in their businesses.
Thanks, Ronan. Are there any other aspects of this program that would help a student gain confidence in their business skills?
Yeah, I would like to particularly emphasize in this type of question that, for example, this year we organized at the CUBS level the first Business Idea Challenge, which actually was created for all CUBS students, and it gave an opportunity and a platform for students to actually showcase their entrepreneurial and innovation skills. So it was great to see groups from this particular program, the Food Business Innovation, entering the competition and actually, winning some of the most important prizes as well. So it kind of gives you that confidence, because you're able to showcase your skills in front of your colleagues from the CUBS Business School, and you're kind of able to justify and pitch your idea, which is maybe in food sector. And I would also like to emphasize here, we're not just talking about innovation in terms of products, we're also talking about innovation in terms of services. For example, the food apps are hugely popular, and this is something that we really like to emphasize to students like to come up with. So our students basically got that platform with the Business Idea Challenge to gain confidence in their business skills, to see how they perform, when they are challenged by other students from different areas of business, and they performed really well. So it was a great opportunity to see that. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Lana. So we have another question here. Go ahead, Ronan. Yeah.
I was just going to say on the age limit, there's a question there about the private sector and the...
Yes, I was just going to call it. So for most of the graduates, be educated for the private sector, and is there an age limit for potential graduates in employment? I'm a mature student upskilling.
Okay, so there is no age limit, and while a lot of the opportunities for careers do emerge in the private sector, and we do have students who've gone on to take internships and placements with local authorities, that are heavily involved in providing the infrastructure for the food industry in terms of things like just simple things like water, sites, planning permissions, all of those things that are a fundamental part of, delivery of a functioning food system. We've got students that have gone into other government departments working in energy or in sustainability or the environment, areas like that again have, big applications on the food side. Obviously, places like the Department of Agriculture are interested in our students. And I guess to answer the second part of it, we don't have an age limit. We always have, we have a selection of mature students every year. And they're students who've maybe exited the education system in the past and want to maybe retrain or refocus and pursue a career in the food side. I would always say to kind of mature students coming back, they have an awful lot to offer because they've got life experience that the younger students don't have. The younger students, when they're in groups with more mature students, it's extraordinary the impact that has on them in terms of, learning about life and, growing up and developing and seeing things, through a different lens. So that works quite, that always works well. It's nice. We're always looking for an interesting blend if we can manage that, Trish.
Great, thanks, Ronan. There's another 2 questions. We might just ask them together. There's a student inquiring about whether there's a possibility of taking an elective out of the course. So basically just doing one module out of the course, and how many places are actually available in the course then?
So we don't offer electives on the program. The program is set, and I suppose that's partially because there's group work and assessments embedded in which the students have to participate in those. I think we've put a lot of time and effort into designing this program, working with industry to make sure that it's really focused on delivering what industry is looking for in the frame that we're I suppose that we're delivering in, which is food business and innovation. There are other science masters there in some of the undergraduate programs allow you to take some science electives, but unfortunately in this, because it's a very, very quick turnaround, students are in campus from the is it 12 weeks before Christmas, 8 weeks after Christmas, and then they're on placement or internship. So it's a very, very fast turnaround, and it mightn't necessarily run with the with the academic calendar in other departments either. So it's we've carefully selected the modules that work on our program.
But I would also like to add to that, we do encourage students to always pursue their interests. So there are many different resources available out there where if you're interested particularly in food science, you can get them. And we can also, we give you contacts and networks with the lecturers in our other departments. And you're more than welcome to ask questions if you would like to gain a little bit more knowledge in that area. So we are very open in, encouraging students to explore what they want and pursue that type of knowledge as well.
We also, just to follow on from that, have a number of food programs through our
and look,
that you might find interesting. They're kind of shorter courses if you were just looking for an elective, and there's a few diploma courses as well there. So how many places on the course, either Lana or Ronan?
Ronan?
Can you hear us okay there, Ronan? We're just asking how many places on the course.
So just in terms of numbers, Trish, we had 97 students on the program last year, and it has grown in popularity since we merged the 2 previous programs. And I guess that's testament to, I suppose, the opportunities that are in the food sector. It's testament to the quality of what we're doing and the program, that we're delivering, and the content and the applicability of that. And I guess students are very, as Lana mentioned there, they're very quick now to highlight what they're doing online, and that makes that I suppose educates other students on terms of the achievements and the paths that students can take. We haven't refused any students up to date, so we don't have we don't have a definite number. Typically we land somewhere around that kind of number, but we've never, anybody who really wants to do the program, we've never refused entry to any student, as long as they meet the qualifying criteria, obviously. But we've never refused any students at this stage, so we're still open for applications, as the man says.
Thanks, Ronan. And can you tell me what students do in the entrepreneurial module exactly? Could you give us some examples? Yeah,
so just briefly, I guess we, I suppose, as part of, the strategy across the university, that every student at some point in time would have some input of entrepreneurship in their program. I suppose we're very, very strong in it, and we're one of two programs that have entrepreneurship embedded heavily into the core architecture of the program, and Lana would have shown you that. So on that entrepreneurship model, the students are working in groups and developing a concept from scratch. So they go through the ideation phase, they go through the research phase, the commercialization phase, and then we encourage them to go into things like the Business Innovation Challenge, where the projects are evaluated by a third-party panel of judges, and the students get feedback. Throughout that process, they're pitching their ideas. They have to stand over the validation, the research that they complete, the positioning, the how they come up with the idea, what problem they're solving. It's very, very it's a very, very comprehensive process. There's two outputs really for students. Not every student that comes on the program wants to start their own business, nor do we expect them to. But by learning the skills of entrepreneurship, students become acutely aware of the fact that nothing stands still. There's always change, in markets, change in consumer behavior, changes in demands. And when you've got that perspective, it makes it much easier for students to become adaptable and resilient themselves. And we're all going to face challenges in our careers, and we might go down a path that we're not maybe 100%. And Maeve is a great example, where she went down the science path, and I would consider her to be very entrepreneurial, saying, well, that's not what I want to do. I want to do something else. And she went away and she did her research, and she found the program that she liked. And now that's given her the springboard to progress in her career. So I suppose there's two purposes in it. There's the academic purpose, which is teaching people how to start a food business from scratch. And secondly, it's the life skill development is equally important for students who don't want to start a business. But the students have to work in a group from scratch. The other modules that are developed around that particular module, like the digital marketing that Lana teaches, the supply chain that Seamus O'Reilly teaches, the category management that Alan teaches, they all feed into that particular module then. So as you're progressing through the different stages of it, material that you're covering in other modules become relevant at certain stages. So that entrepreneurship module runs through semester 1 and semester 2, and then you're developing your skill set from the other modules around it, which help to feed into it. So the students love it because it's really very different to anything they've done before. It's a great opportunity for them to be creative, blue sky thinking, and there's no right or wrong answers. It's all, it's very process driven, in terms of, how we get them to think about their ideas, how we get them to validate them, how we, get them to plan about coming up with a commercial, structure around the businesses. So it's very, very informative, and the students really enjoy it every year.
That's great. Thank you so much, Ronan. I think we're just nearly about out of time now, so I'm just going to wrap up the webinar. And I'd like to thank all our speakers and the panel for their time and engaging with the event today. Particular thanks to Maeve for some genuinely fascinating insights into the programme. I'd also like to thank our CUBS media team who guided the panel so expertly through the event today. And just a reminder to everybody on the call, if you do wish to apply for the programme, you can apply online at www.ucc.ie/en/apply. And of course, Ronan and Lana and myself are available for questions whenever you want to contact us. We'd be delighted to chat with you. So finally, I'd like to thank all our viewers today who registered, attended the event, and really engaged with the questions. We really appreciate it. And we wish you all the best of luck with your applications. Thank you.